Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! The gentle mechanical tap of the camera capturing a moment echoed through the shadowy creative space. John examined the captured visual, his gaze intense, critically evaluating the detail on the miniature display. His focus was absolute, like a master craftsman studying his handiwork. A sigh escaped his lips, dissatisfaction evident in his eyes. "Everything all right, honey?" Mary's gentle voice called from the doorway. She leaned against the frame, a steaming mug of coffee in her hands, concern etched on her face. Wilson glanced up, forcing a smile. "Yeah, just not quite getting the shot I want." Mary crossed the room, her slippered feet padding softly on the hardwood floor. She set the mug down on a nearby table and peered over Wilson's shoulder at the camera screen. "I think it looks beautiful," she said, her tone warm and encouraging. "Thanks," Wilson mumbled, but his shoulders remained tense. He set the camera down and ran a hand through his hair, a nervous habit Mary had noticed becoming more frequent lately. "Want to talk about it?" she asked, her psychologist's instincts kicking in. "It seems like there's more bothering you than just this photo." Wilson hesitated, his eyes darting around the room, landing anywhere but on Mary's face. I don't know. Maybe." Mary took his hand, leading him to the worn leather couch in the corner of the studio. They sat down together, the familiar creaks of the old furniture a comforting sound in the tense atmosphere. "You know you can tell me anything, right?" Mary said, her voice soft and free of judgment. "Whatever it is, we'll face it together." Wilson's eyes finally met hers, and she saw a swirl of emotions there. Fear, uncertainty, and a glimmer of hope. He took a deep breath, steeling himself. "Mary, I've been feeling different lately. Not just about my photography, but about myself." The words came out haltingly, as if each one was a struggle to voice. Mary squeezed his hand encouragingly. "Go on," she said, her tone patient and understanding. "I've always felt a bit off, like I was playing a role that didn't quite fit. But lately it's been getting stronger." Wilson's free hand fidgeted with the hem of his shirt. "I've been doing some research, and I think I might have gender dysphoria." The words hung in the air between them, heavy with implications. Mary's mind raced, piecing together the signs she'd noticed, but hadn't fully understood until now. Wilson's increasing discomfort with his appearance, his fascination with photographing women, the way he'd linger over certain clothing items in stores. "Oh, Wilson," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "Thank you for trusting me enough to share this. How long have you been feeling this way?" Wilson's shoulders sagged with relief at her reaction. "I think it's always been there, in the background. But it's gotten more intense over the past year or so. I've been dreaming about living as a woman, Mary, and when I wake up, I feel this crushing disappointment that it's not real." Mary nodded, her training as a psychologist helping her process this information, even as her heart ached for her spouse's struggle. "Have you thought about what you want to do about these feelings?" Wilson looked down at their joined hands. "I'm scared," he admitted. "I don't want to lose you, or my career, or—" "Hey," Mary interrupted gently, placing a hand on his cheek and guiding his gaze back to hers. "You're not going to lose me. We're in this together, remember? and your talent as a photographer has nothing to do with your gender. We'll figure this out, one step at a time. A tear slipped down Wilson's cheek, and Mary wiped it away with her thumb. What do you think about trying some small changes? She suggested. Maybe we could start with clothes, or makeup if you're interested, just in private, to see how it feels. Wilson's eyes lit up at the suggestion. You'd be okay with that? Mary smiled, her heart swelling with love for the person sitting beside her, regardless of how they presented. More than okay. I want you to be happy, to feel comfortable in your own skin, and if that means exploring your gender identity, then I'm here to support you every step of the way. For the first time in months, a genuine smile spread across Wilson's face. I'd like that. Maybe we could go shopping this weekend, just for a few things to try. It's a date, Mary said, leaning in to place a soft kiss on Wilson's forehead. And maybe we could incorporate some of this into your photography. If you're comfortable with it, of course. It might be a beautiful way to document your journey. Wilson's eyes widened at the suggestion. You think so? I hadn't even thought about that. Mary nodded enthusiastically. Absolutely. Your art has always been an extension of yourself. This could be a powerful way to express what you're going through. As they continued to talk, the tension in the room dissipated, replaced by a sense of hope and possibility. The journey ahead would be challenging, but they would face it together, one step at a time. The weekend arrived, bringing with it a mix of excitement and nervousness. Mary and Wilson stood outside a small boutique, its windows displaying an array of colorful dresses and accessories. Are you ready? Mary asked, giving Wilson's hand a reassuring squeeze. Wilson took a deep breath, nodding. As I'll ever be. They entered the store, a small bell chiming above their heads. The saleswoman, a friendly-looking woman in her 50s, approached them with a warm smile. Welcome! How can I help you today? Mary felt Wilson tense beside her and stepped in smoothly. We're looking for some new clothes for my partner here. Something feminine, but not too flashy to start with. The saleswoman's smile never faltered. Of course! Let's see what we can find. Any particular styles or colors you're drawn to? Wilson found his voice, albeit quietly. I like blue, and maybe something with a flowy skirt? Excellent choice, the saleswoman said, leading them towards a rack of dresses. Blue is such a versatile color. Let's try a few different styles and see what feels right. As they browsed, Wilson's initial nervousness began to fade. Mary watched with joy as her partner's eyes lit up at certain pieces, fingers trailing reverently over soft fabrics and delicate details. They ended up in a fitting room, Wilson changing while Mary waited outside. There was a long pause, then Wilson's voice came, hesitant. Mary, can you come in? Mary slipped into the fitting room, her breath catching at the sight before her. Wilson stood in a knee-length blue dress with a gently flared skirt. The color brought out the blue in Wilson's eyes, and even without makeup or other feminine touches, there was a rightness to the image that Mary couldn't deny. You look beautiful, she said softly, meaning every word. Wilson turned to the mirror, eyes wide with wonder. I feel beautiful. For the first time in my life, I look in the mirror and the person I see matches who I feel like inside. Tears welled up in Mary's eyes, but she blinked them back, not wanting to overwhelm the moment. This is just the beginning, she said, wrapping her arms around Wilson from behind. We'll take it one day at a time, but I promise you, We'll get you to a place where you feel this way all the time." They left the store with several outfits, including the blue dress. As they walked to the car, Wilson's step was lighter than Mary had seen in months. "Thank you," Wilson said as they got in the car. "For everything. I don't know what I'd do without you." Mary leaned over, placing a gentle kiss on Wilson's cheek. "You don't have to thank me. This is what partnership is all about. Supporting each other, growing together. I love you, no matter how you present or identify." Back at home, Wilson couldn't wait to try on the clothes again. Mary sat on their bed, watching as her partner twirled in the blue dress, a wide smile on their face. "You know," Mary said thoughtfully, "if you're comfortable with it, this could be a great opportunity for a photo shoot. To capture this moment, this feeling." Wilson paused, considering. "You really think so?" Mary nodded enthusiastically. "Absolutely. Your photography has always been about capturing the essence of your subjects. Why not turn that lens on yourself?" A slow smile spread across Wilson's face. "I like that idea, but would you help me? I'm not sure I'm ready to do self-portraits just yet." "Of course," Mary said, already moving to get the camera equipment. "We'll do it together." They spent the rest of the afternoon setting up a makeshift studio in their living room. Mary helped Wilson with some simple makeup, just enough to enhance natural features without being overwhelming. As they worked, they talked about the future, about the steps Wilson might want to take. They discussed therapy options, the possibility of hormone treatments, and the challenges they might face. "What about names?" Mary asked as she adjusted the lighting. "Have you thought about what you might want to be called?" Wilson was quiet for a moment, smoothing down the skirt of the dress. "I've always liked the name Willow. It's similar to Wilson, but softer." Mary smiled. "Willow, I like it. Want to try it out?" Wilson, now Willow, nodded, a shy smile playing on her lips. "I'd like that." "All right then, Willow," Mary said, picking up the camera. "Are you ready for your close-up?" Willow laughed, the sound freer and more joyous than Mary had heard in years. "As I'll ever be." The photo shoot was a revelation. Mary watched through the lens as Willow came alive, all the tension and discomfort that had plagued Wilson melting away. She captured moments of pure joy, of contemplation, of a person finally allowing themselves to be seen. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow through the windows, Mary lowered the camera. "These are beautiful, Willow. Truly stunning." Willow came over to look at the images on the camera's screen, gasping softly. "Is that really me?" Mary wrapped an arm around her partner's waist. "It is. This is you, Willow. The real you." Tears welled up in Willow's eyes, but this time they were tears of happiness. "I never thought I could feel this. Right. This comfortable in my own skin. This is just the beginning," Mary said, placing a soft kiss on Willow's cheek. "We have a long journey ahead, but we'll take it one step at a time. Together." Willow turned, wrapping Mary in a tight embrace. "I love you so much. Thank you for accepting me, for supporting me." Mary held her close, her heart full of love and pride for the brave person in her arms. "Always," she whispered. "Always." As they stood there, bathed in the golden light of sunset, Mary knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. This was a new chapter in their lives, one filled with self-discovery, growth, and above all, love. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of change and discovery. Willow began seeing a therapist specializing in gender identity issues, taking the first steps towards her transition. Mary attended some sessions with her, learning how to be the best possible support system. At home, their closet slowly transformed. Wilson's old clothes were packed away, replaced by an expanding collection of feminine attire. Mary helped Willow experiment with makeup, laughing together over smudged eyeliner and mismatched foundation shades until they got it right. One evening, as they sat on the couch reviewing the photos from their impromptu shoot, Willow turned to Mary with a thoughtful expression. "I've been thinking," she said, her fingers tracing the edge of the camera. "What if I turned this into a project, documenting my transition through photography?" Mary's face lit up. "That's a brilliant idea. It could be so powerful, not just for you, but for others going through similar experiences." Willow nodded, her excitement growing. "Exactly. When I was first struggling with these feelings, I felt so alone. If I'd seen something like this, known that others had gone through it and come out happy on the other side, it would have meant the world." "So, how do you want to approach it?" Mary asked, her mind already racing with possibilities. "I'm thinking a series of self-portraits," Willow said, her professional photographer mindset kicking in. "Capturing the physical changes, of course, but also the emotional journey, the good days and the bad." Mary squeezed her hand encouragingly. "It sounds beautiful and challenging." Willow's smile was tinged with determination. "It will be, but I think it's important. And I'd like you to be part of it too, if you're comfortable with that." "Me?" Mary asked, surprised. "Of course," Willow said softly. "You're such a huge part of this journey. Your support, your love, it's been everything. I want to capture that too." Tears pricked at Mary's eyes. "I'd be honored," she whispered, leaning in to place a gentle kiss on Willow's lips. The project began in earnest the next day. Willow set up a tripod in their bedroom, capturing her image first thing in the morning. Hair mussed, face bare, wearing one of Wilson's old t-shirts. "Day 1, she said into the camera. "This is where I start." Mary watched from the doorway, her heart swelling with pride at her partner's courage. As Willow turned off the camera, Mary stepped forward, enveloping her in a hug. "I'm so proud of you," she murmured into Willow's hair. Willow held her tight. "I couldn't do this without you." The days turned into weeks, and Willow's project grew. She captured everything. The first time she went out in public presenting as female, nervously clutching Mary's hand as they walked down the street. The day she started hormone therapy, a mix of fear and hope in her eyes, as she held up the prescription bottle to the camera. The first time she used the women's restroom, coming out of the stall with a triumphant grin. There were difficult moments, too. The day Willow came home in tears after overhearing a cruel comment at work. The frustration of voice training, hours spent practicing to achieve a more feminine tone, the anxiety before coming out to friends and family. But through it all, Mary was there, a constant presence of love and support. Willow captured that too. Mary helping her apply makeup, the two of them laughing as they went through Willow's old clothes, deciding what to donate. Quiet moments of Mary holding Willow as she cried, overwhelmed by the magnitude of the changes in her life. As the months passed, the changes became more noticeable. Willow's features softened, her body reshaping itself. She grew out her hair, delighting in the way it framed her face. Her confidence grew, both in front of the camera and behind it. 1 year into her transition, Willow decided it was time to take her project public. She created a website, carefully curating the images to tell her story. The night before it went live, she and Mary sat together, reviewing the final layout. "Are you sure about this?" Mary asked, gently. "Once it's out there, there's no taking it back." Willow nodded, her eyes shining with determination. "I'm sure. If this can help even one person feel less alone, give them hope. It's worth it." Mary squeezed her hand. "I'm so proud of you. You're incredibly brave. You know that?" Willow smiled, leaning her head on Mary's shoulder. "I'm only brave because I have you. You've been my rock through all of this." "Always," Mary promised, placing a soft kiss on the top of Willow's head. The website launched the next morning. At first, there was little response, but slowly, comments began to trickle in. People sharing their own stories, thanking Willow for her courage, for showing them that transition was possible, that happiness was achievable. As Willow read the comments, tears streaming down her face, Mary wrapped her arms around her from behind. "You did it," she whispered. "You're making a difference." Willow turned in her arms, her face radiant with joy. "We did it," she corrected. "I couldn't have done any of this without you." Mary cupped Willow's face in her hands, marveling at the woman before her. The person she had always been inside was now visible to the world, and she was breathtaking. "I love you," Mary said softly. "Every version of you, always." Willow leaned in, their lips meeting in a tender kiss. As they parted, Willow's eyes sparkled with happiness and a hint of mischief. "You know," she said, "I think our story deserves its own photo shoot. What do you say we set up the camera and capture this moment?" Mary laughed, her heart full of love. "I thought you'd never ask." As they set up the equipment, playfully arguing over poses and lighting, Mary reflected on their journey. It hadn't been easy, but every challenge had been worth it to see Willow so happy, so comfortable in her own skin. This was just one chapter in their story, Mary knew. There would be more challenges ahead, more moments of joy and struggle. But as she looked at Willow, radiant and confident behind her camera, Mary knew that whatever came their way, they would face it together. The camera clicked, capturing their embrace, their laughter, their love. Another moment preserved, another step in their journey documented. As the sun set outside their window, bathing them in warm, golden light, Mary and Willow held each other close, grateful for the past that had brought them here, and excited for the future they would build together.
Thanks for watching, my girlies! Be sure to check out Patreon for more!